What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of MaintStory. It's been a while, but I'm back with episode 3. Today's topic is progression time gates. So in any MMORPG, they expect you to pretty much grind out from level 1 to level 300 for MaintStory in general, to progress through the game by getting better gear, getting levels, and progressing through the game. So the main content in MaintStory is located in Arcane River from level 200 in Vanishing Journey all the way to Black Mage at 255. Technically, you need to be 270 to do meaningful damage to him, but the main thing that is required in Arcane River is indeed the Arcane Force. And to obtain Arcane Force, you need Arcane Symbols, which is enabled by doing Arcane Dailies. Basically a series of daily quests in each area of the Arcane River areas to gain those symbols. So the problem is that it's a daily quest, so the only way to get those symbols is pretty much waiting out the day reset and getting those symbols. Which means if you do miss a bunch of dailies, you will be behind in Arcane Force, which is not great, because that would force you to log in and every day and expect you to do those dailies, so it becomes like a daily chore, which at that point, from a game design point, why even play the game if it becomes a chore, right? Because games are supposed to be fun. So the problem lies there is the time gate for Arcane Symbols. They do have alternative ways to get those symbols, but it's not very great. The best way right now is, I guess, event shops, because they do give you a lot of Arcane Symbol selectors, which is great, but I don't think that's enough because it is out of your control, because events are planned by Nexon, not by you, so you can't really control that. What is in your control is technically farming the Arcane Symbols, but that's not a realistic solution, because right now the Arcane Symbols drop rate is so low, it's better off just waiting for the daily. And again, that is a time gate in itself in progression, because if you're waiting for something to progress, that is a progression time gate right there. Obviously the solution to this dilemma is pretty easy. Just make Arcane Symbols farmable, right? Give them a reasonable drop rate so that players can catch up if they miss a bunch of dailies, so they don't have to be forced to feel like they have to do those dailies to progress in the game. Back then, you could actually technically farm those Arcane Symbols because the drop rate wasn't that bad back then, but now it's just abysmal and you can't really farm them. So yeah, pretty simple solution, just make it farmable. As well, another thing regarding Arcane Force is that if you wanted to play a new character, you would have to restart Arcane Symbol dailies for it. That's not great. At least in regular servers, you're allowed to have like this thing called Arcane Catalyst or something to transfer your symbols, but they lose like EXP to a different character, which is fine. Just bring it to Reboot, right? Why doesn't Reboot have this? Another great solution for this would be Arcane Symbol account-wide, or technically worldwide. Because if you finished one time, why does the game expect you to do it another time, right? They did this for like boss pre-quests, right? Damien and Lotus storyline quests, if you complete it once, it's completed for all characters. Why can't they do this for Arcane Symbols as well? Because we already experienced content, why do you have to experience the content a second time? That is like the tedious content, right? Doing dailies. No one likes that. So yeah, that's a pretty easy solution for Arcane Symbols. Technically Sacred Symbols as well is the same concept, so yeah, fix that. The next thing that progression that is time gated is indeed Star Force, because booming your items is not great. It basically makes it so that you have to make another spare, and making another spare is technically a time gate in itself, because who knows how long it took you to get that spare, right? For many players, it's pretty easy actually to get to Absolab weapons now, because you can just get a couple of weeks in for dailies and you're good. But what if it's like an arcane armor or weapon? It depends on the player, right? If you're grinding hardcore, maybe it'll be pretty easy. But for the average player, maybe not. So, that's a time gate itself. So basically, the solution for this is not to make the items boom. Seems pretty logical to me, because, the other upgrade systems in the game doesn't have this reverse progression in booming like Star Force. For example, when you're keeping an item, the item will not tier down from legendary, right? Once it's legendary forever. So you can't exactly tier down. Like Inner Ability used to do this as well, where it could be legendary, but it could go back down to unique if you didn't lock the potential tier of that Inner Ability. But now they changed it so that you can't go down, which is great, because reverse progression again is not healthy. It seems like you're going backwards, right? Which is cringe. But yeah, if the items didn't boom, that's great, because once you get the item, it's there forever. As long as you spend mesos on it, you will progress forward eventually. Even though it could still technically go back down because, star forcing, there's a percent chance it can go down, and that's pretty apparent at 15 stars where, the success rate of every star attempt is only 30%, Booming is just another slap in the face when it booms. The hugest time gate is, your dark boss item drop, right? Like the Source of Suffering, the Berserk, the Eye Patch. If those things drop, great. But then you have to star force them. Boo. If it booms, you're probably not getting in like another spare unless you get super lucky, right? And still you have to star force it. So if they remove the boom rate, that's great. You still need to spend like a ton of mesos just to get it to 22 stars, right? If you're arguing that boom ring is good for the game, I'm not sure what your reasoning is, but I don't know, maybe it's like some kind of gambling thing. Sure, just keep the boom rate at like 22 to 23 stars, right? If people want to really gamble for that 23rd star, sure. But right now, I don't see the reason why they should keep the boom rate in, because it's not healthy for the game, for the player's mental, and yeah. And that will limit a lot of time gates for progression. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention my prime example for progression time gate for equipment wise for star forcing is Hard Magnus. Back in the day when you need to star force like a Tyrant belt, you need to wait 8 weeks just to get a new belt because HMAG only drops 9 coins per week and it costed like 70 for a belt. Waiting 8 weeks for a belt just to upgrade it and then boom it during a 5, 10, 15. Actually not 5, 10, 15, like third. I don't think Star Force even cut those. Yeah. But that's my point taken right there. Reverse progression, terrible for Star Force. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.